The forest had always been our escape, our realm of tranquility and adventure. My friend Alex and I had spent countless weekends hiking, camping, and exploring its depths. But the last camping trip we embarked on would forever shatter our perceptions of the serene wilderness we once loved. It was a cool autumn weekend, and the forest was alive with vibrant colors. We set up camp near a small clearing surrounded by towering trees and the soothing sound of a nearby stream. The sun was beginning its descent, casting long shadows that danced among the foliage. As evening set in, we gathered around the crackling campfire, swapping stories and laughing as the flames danced in the darkness. The familiar feeling of camaraderie settled over us, and the forest seemed to welcome us into its embrace. Hours passed, and as the moon rose high in the sky, we decided to retire to our tents. I zipped myself inside the sleeping bag, the sound of the rustling leaves and distant nocturnal calls providing a soothing lullaby. Just as I was about to drift into sleep, a sudden rustling outside the tent jerked me awake. Alex's voice whispered through the fabric.
"Hey,
Did you hear that? I unzipped the tent, peering out to find him standing near the edge of the clearing, his flashlight illuminating the area. Probably just an animal, I replied, still half asleep. Alex's expression was tense, his flashlight beam wavering. I don't know, man. It sounded off. Before I could respond, a second rustling joined the chorus, closer this time. We both turned our heads, our gazes fixated on the edge of the clearing. The moonlight cast eerie shadows, distorting the shapes of the trees. Then something emerged from the darkness. Something that sent a chill down my spine. It was a figure, hunched and limping, moving with an unnatural gait. Its skin seemed to meld with the shadows, its form barely distinguishable from the trees around it. Panic gripped my heart as I realized there was something inherently wrong about this presence. Alex's voice wavered. What? What is that? My throat was dry, my voice barely a whisper. I don't know. But we need to get out of here. We scrambled out of our tents, adrenaline coursing through our veins. The figure was now closer, its shape shifting and undulating in the moonlight. Fear propelled us to our feet, and we ran blindly through the forest, the sound of our footsteps echoing in the stillness. We didn't stop until we had put a considerable distance between ourselves and whatever horror we had encountered. Breathing heavily, we huddled behind a cluster of trees, our wide eyes scanning the forest for any sign of pursuit. What was that thing? Alex gasped between breaths. I struggled to find words to describe the unsettling encounter. I don't know, but it's like nothing I've ever seen before. Hours passed in the cold darkness, and the forest seemed to hold its breath, as if it too sensed the unnatural presence. We debated whether to return to our campsite to retrieve our gear, but the fear of encountering that figure again kept us rooted in our hiding place. As the night waned, exhaustion began to weigh heavily on our eyelids. Alex leaned against the tree, his eyes drooping. We can't stay here forever. I nodded, my own fatigue overwhelming me. We'll wait until dawn, then we'll head back to camp. The first light of dawn brought a glimmer of hope as the darkness retreated, and the forest regained some semblance of normalcy. Gathering our courage, we cautiously made our way back to our campsite. Our tent stood untouched, the morning sun bathing the clearing in soft light. Alex was the first to step forward, examining the area with cautious relief. But as he moved closer to one of the tents, his face paled and his voice was a strained whisper. "They're empty. Our sleeping bags are gone." I rushed over, my heart sinking as I saw that he was right. The sleeping bags were indeed missing, as if they had been wiped away by some unseen force. Panic resurfaced, and we exchanged horrified glances. The figure... "It must have taken them," I whispered, my voice tinged with disbelief. The realization hit us like a ton of bricks. The figure from the night before, whatever it was, had taken our sleeping bags. It felt like a sinister message, a twisted warning that it was still lurking in the shadows. With our gear lost, we had no choice but to abandon our campsite and head back to civilization. We walked in silence, the weight of the events sinking in. The forest that had once been our sanctuary now held a terrifying secret, one we couldn't comprehend. Days turned into weeks, and our encounter with the mysterious figure haunted our thoughts. It was as if a dark cloud had settled over us, tainting the memories of the forest we once loved. We researched endlessly, trying to find some explanation for what we had witnessed. But the term skinwalker kept recurring in our searches, a term synonymous with malevolent shapeshifters from Native American folklore. One evening, as we sat in Alex's living room, we heard a faint rustling outside. The sound was distant, barely audible, but it sent a shiver down our spines. We exchanged nervous glances, our hearts pounding in unison. Alex's voice quivered. "It can't be. It can't still be following us, right?" Before I could respond, a low whisper filled the room, seeming to emanate from every corner. "You can't escape." Fear clenched my heart as I realized the voice was coming from Alex. His eyes vacant and distant. His body seemed to contort, shifting and reshaping with an unnatural fluidity. I stumbled back, my voice a scream of disbelief. "Alex? No, please no." The figure that now wore Alex's skin grinned with malevolence. "You shouldn't have run from me." I fled from the room, my breath ragged, my mind racing. I barricaded myself in the bathroom, my heart pounding against my ribcage. Outside, I heard the voice again, now echoing my name in a distorted, mocking tone. Hours passed, the air heavy with tension. The sun began to set, casting long shadows that crept along the floor. I knew that I couldn't stay hidden forever, that the figure would eventually find me. And as the shadows deepened, I realized that the forest, the once beloved haven, had become a prison from which there was no escape. The figure, the skinwalker, had woven its darkness into the very fabric of our lives, forever changing the course of our destiny. As night fell and the moon rose high in the sky, I knew that I was not alone. The figure's whispers surrounded me, its presence lurking just beyond my perception. The forest had become a realm of nightmares, a place where the line between reality and the supernatural was forever blurred. And in the end, as I gazed into the abyss of the forest depths, I knew that the skinwalker's curse had claimed me too, just like it had my friend Alex.